up? It's Ali, your favorite eccentric slow man. What's up, everybody? I am out here getting my morning walk in. It's about 9, almost 9:30 my time, 9:30 a.m. And everybody is out and about. Show you this beauty. I'm actually gonna stop here in a second because I want to come on and chat with you guys. As you see at my screen, it's a little bit overcast today. Yesterday it rained most of the day. Um, so there's a lot of people out here. This is the first time I've actually seen this many people. And I come about the same time every morning. So today's video is going to be about lessons learned, that less is more. And I think this is really like a critical lesson to learn, especially as a Westerner, specifically American. We've had a lot of things drilled into our heads, subconsciously and consciously, and I think that understanding some of these nuances that I've learned as I've been on this journey, and even before, it didn't really take traveling for me to sit and say, oh, I could do with less. I still struggle with some things. I'm not good with everything, but definitely reiterate that all the stuff you don't need. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the less is more concept, but I'm gonna let you guys see a little bit of what has become one of my favorite places. This is an area, or kind of what, like a requirement that I have for living now. It used to be like an ocean, and it was a little less about the ocean than it is about having spaces to be able to get out and just walk comfortably without being honked at by cars or almost run over by cars and stuff like this. So we'll talk about finding out and discovering, identifying the things that you need in order to be successful in a journey like this. So I'm going to take a seat, walk over here, and over there, you guys, is an even bigger park. It's like one of the biggest ones in this area. Highly recommend it. Okay, so let's chat a little bit. What's up, you guys? Thought I'd just take a breather. I've done my 2 laps, and I'll do a little bit more, obviously, to get home. But you guys, raise your hand, give me a high five or something, and let me know if you aspire to be on this journey to leave wherever you are, especially as Americans. I know if we weren't exiting before, we are exiting for sure now. And I'm just gonna flip the script because I'll talk and you guys can see the beauty out here. And one of the things I think a lot of people struggle with is access. What am I gonna have? Am I gonna, what am I gonna need? Because we're consciously comparing where we're going to where we currently are. We're making assumptions that we're going to need all this stuff that we currently have. And that's one of the things that has been drilled down. I shouldn't say never. There's a number of things that I have confirmed are not necessary. But I was a shoe horse and a coat horse, and just a kitchen appliance horse, and you know um, bedding and housewares, and all this stuff. You got like 20 bedding sets, 20 sheet sets, and if you don't have that many, then something's wrong. At least 5 per bed, right? Especially if you have different size beds, right? And then every appliance. I'm telling you, I literally had every appliance. But my thing was also, because I was a mixologist, was every type of glass times 3. So I had all this stuff in attics, in storage, in cabinets. I could pull it out for any event. And yes, I did use it. But y'all, I've been gone for 4 years and I haven't touched any. Now, most of the stuff I've given away, I do still have a storage. But I would say one of the more lessons is realizing that when you move to a place and you have like an efficiency, what we call an efficiency, they call a studio, right? So it's trying to think of what they call them in Kenya because they have a different name. Um, for them there, but it's basically a run room. So you got your kitchen outfit, maybe a separator with like a countertop, your living space, which is a couch usually, maybe space for a dining table, and then your bed. And then they don't have closets per se in a lot of countries. They have built-ins. But you're starting, like, if you could find an area, if you find apartments that have like actual closets or encaves like closets, it's more of a Western design, simply because it's just not something that is a thing anywhere else. But when I started looking at like, I I have a lot of like clothes and things like that now, what I would consider a lot, because I'm out here for a year at a time, and just having things for different climates so that I can come and go as I please has been necessary. But even cutting down on rows and rows of pants. I don't have one pair of jeans. Even if I go to a cold climate, I don't have one pair. I used to, but I gained some weight, so I gave them away to somebody. Well, one pair of jeans that I have from Colombia. Um, but having tons and hundreds of pairs of shoes and 50 coats and every leather coat and color, you start to realize, do I need all this stuff, right? And it's not even so much needing it. So let me put it in perspective. For me, it is, why do I have it? And then I started paying attention to, well, how often did I use it? How often did I um, wear these things? How often did I see these things? And the real testament has been being gone for a year at a time, because I usually go back to States once a year. It seems to be that there's something that needs to be done once a year, and I go back to the States. And this time I went back this year, I didn't even go to my storage. Did I don't even think I made it to my storage. Maybe I did in August. I don't even remember, but I didn't make it back in October, and I needed to check some things. But honestly, how they say, if you don't see it after like 6 months, you probably don't need it, unless it's like winter stuff, or something like that, seasonal things. But you realize you have all the stuff that you don't need, and what are you going to do with it? And then on top of that, you realize nobody else wants it. So that's the first thing. So for all the people who are trying to figure out, what do I do with my stuff? And oh my God, we have attachments to so many things, right? And those attachments cost us money ultimately. You know what I'm saying? So for instance, hold on, you guys. I'm trying to see. I can't see my comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're checking in from. Okay. Um, having things starts to cost money. So even when I left, it was costing me money. So I wasn't using the stuff, but I'm paying for an extra large storage. Like, my first storage was to store my car and all this stuff was going to be like $250 a month. It was like $236 plus insurance, $250. But that was to store my car too. I was like, oh, that's got to probably be a a good deal, you know, because didn't want to leave it on the street, this and that and the other. You guys, multiply that out, right? So that's a small apartment in another country. It's storing a car that you don't use, and so I really challenge you guys to think about things that you've touched and haven't touched. And I know, and I'm talking about the people who are actually planning on uprooting and moving somewhere, and you can't figure out what you're going to need to keep. And this idea that this is another lesson learned, that most everything that you need, you can get. Now, there are some places where it's going to be difficult. I've been to every continent except Antarctica and Australia. Which I don't know if I'll make it to either of those. But everywhere else around the world, with the exception of Africa, you can pretty much get everything you need. Even in Europe, you can order from Amazon. Even in, I'm trying to think. I think the UK too. I'm here in Bangkok. There's an IKEA. Hey, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can't see anything, but I can see people on. So understanding also that like this access, and I'm not gonna be able to get my hot sauce, or I'm not, first of all, some of this stuff is really not necessary. It's not needed, but we think we need it because we're so attached to it. We got to have our favorite chips. We got to have our favorite crackers. And what I want to say is the third thing is adapting. And this isn't necessarily a lesson, like a major lesson learned, more of a gradual thing that continues to grow and be like attached to me, something I totally understand and welcome, because it's something that I've wanted, and that is acclimating to other cultures. And to the point of understanding that and welcoming that the things that you had at home you're not going to have here, or you may not have, or if they do have them, like chips for instance, like Lay's and Brands and Heinz and stuff like that. There are lots of places that you'll go to and you'll pay $15 for that stuff. You'll pay like 3 to 4 times the amount just to have a pleasure. But it's not because they don't have their version. Now, I'm going to say nothing really matches to Heinz if you still eat ketchup. I don't really eat it except with French fries, and I haven't had French fries in months. What? It's amazing. But when you can detach yourself from the pleasures that you think kind of sustain your happiness, and they're little external things like that, like products and certain types of foods and stuff like that. If you can start to slowly wean yourself off of those things, it makes your transition and the concept and thought about transitioning and moving somewhere a little less daunting, right? Because then you're worried about, you're less worried about how much stuff you need to take with you, what you need to, are they going to have this and that? Now, there are some things, so we're going to get into the things that you definitely do need. This is not all need to just ditch it and go about your way. Some of us can, but this is to say that number 3, you got to start weaning yourself off of those care package things that you might only be able to get in the States. The other thing that I do want to say this, as a black woman with locked hair, there are some places, most places in the world that I think I've only been to one place that actually had hair care products that were not American hair care products, that are, two places. And one is Colombia, clothes and hair care, natural hair care. Didn't have to make stuff. Colombia, I was in love. I was like, what? And for all the low too. And Thailand. And it's not like they actually have products for black people. It's more so that they have products that if you check enough stuff, because everything is a tester in the store, and you sample everything. They have all these little sample packs. They have so many things that mirror. So I just bought this pomade. Like, nothing holds my edges down. I don't care what kind of edge, cream, whatever, however it's sold, it never holds my hair down, especially if I'm sweating and stuff like that. So I found some pomade that does exactly what ours does in the States, the ones that are close enough to what we would buy. $6. Bought in the store. I opened up the container and looked at it. I was like, oh, this looks good. Touched it a little bit. Boom. First one that I have found. Secondly, they have hair sprays that are mineral sprays that soften my hair, because I need the softening from the root through. Oh, another area I would say is Balkan Europe, like that little mix. Serbia, Croatia, maybe a little less Croatia. Serbia, and must have been in Germany. And finding this, they have some really good products that soften your skin. Listen, okay, so I have even been able to find some things, but what I will say I have had the hardest time finding is when I was productive styling my hair, is hair. Curly hair, because I used to always buy curly hair, so I would always buy enough to take with me, and I would always have 8 packs of hair in my luggage, y'all. And so that's probably some of the only things is realizing that, yeah, you can't get everything that you need, but primarily I would say for us, that's if you have specific things. Like, we support black-owned businesses. And bring your black girl vitamins, because you ain't gonna get them here. You're not gonna get them anywhere. I don't know if they even ship abroad, so definitely bring your own. And I even have ways of packaging things, so I can bring my collagen and all of that stuff. So things like that you're probably gonna want to bring. You're probably not gonna find Fenty here. You probably will find Fenty in Europe, but I don't think you'll find it here, because from a beauty product standpoint, we're in Asia. They got beauty products on lot. Hey, Norton. No. But welcome to my channel. I'm talking about lessons learned, things I've learned since traveling, and I'm on the things that we think we can get from other places that we might not be able to find, right? And so that's one of the realizations I've had. The other thing is that I usually advise people strongly about is clothing, especially women. If you are a person like me and you wear a size 10 women's shoe, and you come to any country outside of America and Europe, and probably Australia, anywhere in between, not even Europe, but it's got to be northern, like Germany, where the bigger people are, you're not gonna find a women's shoe over an 8. So here we are again, being hassled for our shoe size. I'm in Bangkok, Norton. Hold on, let me flip it. I'm at the park. I just did my 2 laps and thought I'd come and sit and chat with you guys. I actually have to get back to my room because I am checking out today. So I'm over here at this park that I simply love. Okay, so that's based on products and things. Some other things that I've learned while traveling is, and confirmed while traveling is, listen, being a tourist and going on vacation is 100% different, 300% different than living somewhere. Even if you're living somewhere is 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, that is profoundly different than being somewhere for 5 to 7 days. Okay, so people will say cost. We talk about cost all the time. And I'll use Bangkok because so many people, especially Americans, are coming to Bangkok. And the whole idea is it's so much cheaper here. And it comparing apples to apples, it probably isn't. But when you align those four things that I just mentioned and you're living based on what you truly need rather than this idea that you have to spend $3,000 a month on useless things, what may end up being useless to you, it's very cheap and comparable. But the flip side to it as well is it comes with acknowledging that there is a different perspective on what happiness is. And so one of the things for me is, because I've been out here for almost 5 years now, and I always end up back in Thailand at some point. It's kind of like a pass-through place, a place of happiness, peace, land of smiles. And I enjoy being here. But one of the things that I've realized is, when I kind of know what I need, just for mental peace, because ashwagandha can only help so much, but what I need for mental peace, I always need water. So that's one of the things. But originally, I was associating water with needing an ocean. Like I never wanted to be landlocked. No desire to be landlocked. Wouldn't even go visit places as I was on my journey to find my next forever home. Wouldn't even go into places that were landlocked. But since then, I have become very fond of lakes, but lakes that offer a healthy environment, right? And so now I look for places that have bodies of water, walkable paths, biking paths, big parks, a lot of nature where I can get some fresh air, but also have amenities and have access to things, even if it's different things, being able to walk around and walk everywhere. I don't jump in a taxi. I use now the train system here a lot more now, but I want to be somewhere where I can walk and where the city is built up to walk. And so that's another lesson learned. We're so used to having cars, most of us. Now, if you live in New York, no. If you live in a city that primarily you take public transportation, then this isn't even something that you really have to, that it's going to take effort to adapt to, because living like this, every place I've been places where I can walk, right? Or get on public transportation. A ride from my current location to where I was before, which is about 5 or 6 stops further south, is like $1.08. So like 45. And so a dollar, yeah, like $1.08, something like that. Or jumping in I think even a Grab motorbike is maybe 50 baht. So you pay a little bit more to be on a Grab, but you gotta have some wit about you, because they know how to whip it and all of that. So sometimes I think the train is a little bit safer option, but it won't get you door to door. It'll get you station to station, and then you do have to walk a bit or jump in some sort of transportation to get where you're going if you don't want to walk. We got Grabs, which are the same as Ubers and all that kind of stuff, and taxis and everything. But I realized, because I still have a car in the States, but I realized when I go back to the U.S., I haven't ditched my car yet because I keep needing to go back. But eventually I will get rid of it because it's an expense that I have that I don't really want to have. Like, I'm paying insurance, but I have like just storage insurance. So if you don't know about that, please type in storage in the comments, and I will do a video and share, some information, insights on car storage. Yep, car storage, or car insurance, something like that. Anyway, so realizing that, you can be mobile without a car. Because I think a lot of times, people ask, well, I want to move, but I don't have a vehicle. Can I ship my car over? Well, for the most part, a lot of places won't even let you. You can ship cars, but you got to go through a whole process. You got to do some modifications sometimes. In this country in particular, in Bangkok, they drive on the other side of the road. So your car, excuse me, from the U.S. won't even be street legal. And I've only been in a few places where I've seen where they drive on like a different direction and seen like one car. I can't remember where I was. I feel like it was in Serbia. No, where was that at? Where was that at? Oh, Turkey. And I feel like when I was there, I saw a car that someone pretty much looked like a custom-made car, and it was the driving seat was on the opposite side of how they drive, and they drive the same way. Wait, let me think. Turkey. They drive the same way we do in the States, on the right-hand side. So the drivers, it's on the left-hand side, and you drive on the right-hand side of the road. So understanding that, a lot of times we were like, well, how can I come and buy a car? Now, if you plan on living on the full outskirts of town, there's no transportation, and you can't hire a transportation provider like you can in Africa. That's a thing. Most people have drivers because it's so cheap to have a driver. You don't have to own a car. You basically cover the expenses and pay to have your driver with you all day. It's not about rich. It's about, that's one of the services that they offer. So if you're going to be like in places where, you're not on a bus line or something like that, you might need to consider those options, especially if you're going to be actively going into more populated areas and stuff. But that's something to think about. And that's one of the reasons why, number 5, make sure that when you are planning on longer term or moving abroad full time, that you go and you scope the areas out, that you do some homework. Yes, you can watch our videos. Yes, you can look at all the things on Instagram. Yes, you can read blogs so the roosters come home. But you will not know if it works for you, if those things that you've read, the things that you've seen are actually apropos to what you need, unless you actually go. It could be an energy, it could be a vibe, it could be an air clarity issue. Like, I've been in some places that you would think, because there's water nearby, they're really clean and breathable, and as soon as I get there, my throat starts itching, all kinds of stuff, right? So you really need to go, and I mean, when I say go and visit, you need to go and stay a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, minimum. I say a month, especially if you're considering moving abroad, but I know a lot of times people don't have a lot of that time to do that. But it definitely is a stark difference from being somewhere for 5 days to 14 days compared to being somewhere for a month, 3 months, a year. Okay, you're going to need to know where grocery stores are. If you've got kids, you need to understand how you can commute your kids, having access to other families with kids. Because trust me, in the beginning, you might be like, well, I can entertain my kids. My kids are fine. Eventually, those kids are going to want some interaction. Even if they're gamers, they're going to want some interaction. That's one of the things. I took my grandson for 2 months with me, and it's one of the things I didn't really plan. It was last, like, very impromptu, last minute, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity, and so I did it. But to do it again, I would make sure I set up the appropriate kind of connections with other families with kids his age demographic, so that he can have other people to be around, have a break, enjoy the experience differently, from a 10-year-old, 12-year-old perspective, you know what I'm saying? And so there are reasons why you want to come out and check things out, because you cannot solely rely on the information that people give you. There can't be a, well, such and such told me, or I saw it on this YouTube video. And yes, it's going to give you, good content creators show you the good, bad, just show you real life. We don't edit our videos in terms of only showing you the good cuts of town. There are times where I walk through areas and I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. Now, I might not video just from a safety perspective and a level of respect, but I will speak to them, those areas or whatever, some similar to what I talked about being in Mumbai and being able to identify certain areas, especially if you're going to be staying there, you're solo, you're a woman, stuff like that. You want to be aware of things. But side note, I'll say this: India is probably one of the safest countries for women, period. Okay, so that's 5 things, you guys, to really kind of think about, lessons that I've confirmed, learned along the way, adjusted to, that I strongly encourage you guys to kind of jot down and think about prior to making a move like this on your own, right? There's nothing like being prepared, or at least having it in the back of your head that these are some of the things that you're going to need to think about and consider, right? There's nothing wrong with those types of things, even if you say, I don't, that doesn't apply to me. I won't need that. That's not necessary. I got family, so I got people to live with, but you still may get somewhere and be like, okay, I can't live with them forever, or I don't really like this area. And you've done no homework. So now you got to do some homework anyway. So, strongly encourage putting a little effort into, it's no different than if you were going to be moving to a different area, different city, a different state in the States, right? You would do a little bit of homework. Now, I know some of us just get up and move, like if the job tells us and we got to move and we figure it out afterwards. That might be something you don't think you have a lot of control over, but this is something you have a little bit more control. So definitely do a little bit of that due diligence up front. Listen to the things that people say, but then also go kind of jot some notes down, and make sure when you get to a place you explore. Make sure you walk places during the day and during the evening. Have an idea of what their community services are in terms of garbage pickup, waste management, sewage management, all kinds of stuff, y'all. It matters. It makes a huge difference. And when you're in places short term, 3 to 6 months, you're paying taxes on the goods that you purchase and the services that you use, but you're not paying resident taxes. And so a lot of times you don't think about those things. You don't think about those things until something fails, and then you're like, oh, this system sucks, or oh, they don't have this and that and the other. Well, these are things that you really have to think about. You have to look into before you decide, oh, I want to live over there in this building. Well, it's right on the water. What do you need to know about that? What do you need to know about different cities and location? All right. So yeah, that's a little tidbit. I'm out here. I'm getting ready to head back so I can pack up. You guys, side note, I am moving to a new place today. I am house sitting for the rest of the year. I'll do a video on house sitting, time frames of house sitting, and the benefits of house sitting. Get you guys acclimated to my as I get acclimated to my new spot, share with you guys that as well, and just talk about the benefits of being a official house sitter. So I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. As always, great chatting with you. If you watch this on the replay, give me a thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you're planning on starting your own personal journey. And guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all know the drill. Toodles and noodles. Peace and hair grease.